All right, we are live and kicking. Hey, listen. So I just first of all, I just want to thank Theodore Brian Brown for just showing up, man. So we were having a conversation literally 20 minutes ago,
20
and based
minutes.
on what we were talking about, I said, "Yo, let's share this with the world." Yes,
Yep.
guys, I am in a share this with the world season, so that's what we're gonna do. The whole
Yeah.
show your work. This is just part of the process. And he was talking about this idea. Well, not even idea.
Mm.
I'm gonna set it up for you, all right? I'm gonna do the live, right? So he was talking about the previous successes that he had. And my man was like dropping some. Now I don't know people in the sports world like that, but I mean, he was dropping some names, right? And it got us thinking, why don't we write this stuff down for ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
I know that one of the things that some of the people that I know now that are doing is everything that they're doing, like speaking or any kind of engagement, they're putting it in LinkedIn right now, right? Like that's one of the secret keys to unlock how to kind of just flesh out your LinkedIn profile. But what does that look like for doing it for ourselves? So this is how we're going to do this, Brian. This is not going to be a long, I think we waxed eloquent in one of our joints before. So I just want to keep it punchy for those who just probably just thumbing through this thing. Let's talk about how you got to that place when we were talking and just what you were thinking. And then we are going to break down what this is all about. Because I really think that it's creating like a personal CV, a personal curriculum vitae for ourselves, so that we
Yeah.
So go through that for us.
So I think the what it really kind of boils down to, man, I know you and I have talked about this. I don't remember if we talked about it last week, but I know we've talked about it. But that imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So even after you completed stuff, because there's people out there that might be doing stuff, or so you might feel like they're doing stuff better than you are. I'm just going to go back to me. So when we were talking a little while ago, I just started going back over in my mind because I sat down and I did this week, let's say Tuesday. I was just going over my wins, different things that I have done, and people that I have worked with and the projects that I've worked on. And while I was just kind of going through in my mind, and you're right, I probably should have gone ahead and like documented this stuff, but I've worked with a few NFL players, one basketball player, a couple of other people that have like influence. I've worked with Ona Brown, Les Brown's daughter, NFL player.
Like what capacity? Just for the people to know, like what are you actually doing as work?
So with Ona Brown, I worked on her website and I actually did a couple of other little, let's call them advertisements for her, flyers, different things like that for different events that she was doing, different seminars that she was getting ready for. And for the NFL player, Abram Elam, and a nonprofit called Elam. It's still going on to this day. I worked on almost all facets of that with a friend of mine, a partner of mine up in Atlanta, Jason Warner, and we did his logo, we did his website, we did certain social media posts for him.
And is he still using any of that today?
He's still using the logo. The website has changed.
And I asked that because I already knew the answer to that, right? The fact that you can, and I don't want to call this name dropping, but I just want y'all to know that this is he's a very special, he being Brian Theodore, he's a very special media consultant. All right. This is the person that you want for I don't want to say anything. Let's talk about the specialties. Video, right? Videography is definitely, he ain't doing logos no more, y'all.
No.
Yeah, he's very niche in what he's doing. But the point is this: for him to be able to name these individuals means that not only has he worked with them, but he takes pride in the work that he's done. And especially because this is online, he's not just trying to do this to gather to be a clout chaser. He's already got the clout. The problem that we have come across, I've come across this too, is that as intelligent as we might be, as gifted as we might be, there's some deficits that we have, especially as creatives. we just it's like, why don't you
Oh
write
my
this
gosh.
down?
Yeah, yeah.
So before you go on, Brian, I want to do this. Let's talk about the difference between a resume and a CV, right? Because I think that there are those of us, when it's time to do a resume, I think there may be 2 or 3 kinds of people. The first kind is we have a generic resume.
Yep.
Done. That's it. You just send them out to everybody and that's it. There's no connection, no networking. You see a job application, Indeed, boom, done. Monster.com, boom, done. And you probably don't get much results. It's almost like a numbers game, and you might. But then you've got people who tailor the resume to every job that they have, or just tweak it a little bit, even if it's a title, right? So you've got those who kind of upgrade and say, okay, I'm not just going to do a regular resume. I'm now going to do customized resumes based on the actual job. Then you got the third kind of person who's not just looking at the job description and changing the resume. They're looking at the companies. And it's like, okay, I'm going to do the research and the homework for this company. And then I'm going to specifically tailor what I'm doing for that company. And then you got the people who not only do all of that, but they then create a cover letter. How many times have I avoided the cover letter, even though I know how to write?
Oh my gosh. All the time. What?
And that's probably one of the best ways that we can kind of get away with a generic resume, because the cover letter is super specific, right? So that's the resume. We're not talking about a resume today. We're talking about you having a personal CV, a personal curriculum vitae under your belt, so that when times like these come, not times for a job, but times that you don't feel like you are valuable, or that you kind of don't think that you're capable, the imposter syndrome, that you're capable enough to take on the next job or to take on the next project, that's where this is going to come into play. Chris Doe talked about trading up. And for a lot of us, because, I'm going through this starting over series, for a lot of us, we are starting over at the bottom, charging bottom prices all over again, bruh. Like, we have forgotten. Brian, at some point you forgot that you were working with NBA and football players, bruh. Man, like we just, for whatever reason, like we missed, we forgot. And so what's happening now is that let's do this before I go on my rant, because I could go on a rant. Okay, so here's the difference, guys. The difference between a resume and a CV. The primary differences between the two are length, what is included, and what each is used for. So while both are used in job applications, a resume and a CV are not always interchangeable. Okay, so here's probably a good way to explain this, that most resumes in the US are competency based. So they're personal marketing documents. And I think that that's key, right? The fact that people don't really think they know how to market, but anytime you put out a resume, you are marketing yourself. So if your resume sucks, your marketing sucks. You may not suck, but your resume, your marketing does, right? So you can separate the two. So let's go through this process, Brian, because you were just mentioning football players. You didn't get a chance to mention the basketball players, but I'm going to just add that in there as well, so that they get the picture that you are legit. What have you done, or maybe we can discuss this in dialogue now? What can we do together to start building our CV, not our resume? That's specifically for a particular, we're talking about a set of accomplishments and achievements that we need to do. First of all, where would you put that? If you were to put it down, what would you put it in? I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here, and then we can
okay, let's see.
Yeah. So what would you put it in? What would you put this? Let's call it the achievement bucket. And for those of you that don't know, my handwriting is disgusting. So y'all just gonna have to deal with this. I'm gonna try to make it look like a bucket and not a trash can. I was gonna do the crowds. Okay, so what should go inside this thing?
My achievement.
Like? Maybe I should start out that way.
One more time. I was talking while you were talking.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like what? Should it be a journal? Should it be a Google Docs? Does it even matter?
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
I don't think it matters. I think it just needs to be written down. I don't think it should matter that much. However, if you're going to talk about this with other people and send it, it has to be digital in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Google
Okay.
Docs, even Word, something where
Okay.
you know you can send it out, even on your website.
So let's do this. I like that. So let's say that it should be digital, but it also should be analog. And
Yeah.
why is that? That's because if it's digital, you can easily share it.
Hmm.
If it's analog, why would we have an analog version, like a journal or something like that? Why would we have
That's
that?
that's for yourself.
Okay.
You know, that's from thumbing through that thing on those days when it's just like,
Personal.
yo,
Yeah.
yeah, like,
Okay.
oh man, how
Gotcha.
I don't know if I can
So
handle this. I don't know
yeah, yeah,
if this is
yeah.
gonna work. Now you gotta thumb through that thing and flip those
Okay.
pages, you know?
Cool. OneNote
Yeah.
giving me problems already, bro. One boy, yo, Microsoft, y'all need to get it together. Okay, so I decided to close it down right quick. Let's open this thing right back up. So okay, so we've got the bucket, and it looks
Hmm.
like they didn't even save. Wow, they did not even save
Yeah,
what we
well,
just talked about.
yeah,
That is
got to get back to drawing, man.
frustrating. Okay, so okay, here we go. Do you see the screen?
Nope, it's not up there yet. Not
Oh
there
man,
yet. Not there yet.
where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, scrolling through. Here we go. Let's share
There it
it.
is.
Okay, cool. So we said that the bucket should be digital
Digital. Hmm.
and it should be analog. Digital to share, analog for your personal.
Yeah.
And get creative with your analog. So that could look like I mean the easiest way is a journal, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
The sharing would be like you said, like Google Docs.
Yeah. Dropbox.
Hey, if any of y'all know
Whatever.
like any of y'all know a calligraphist or somebody know how to write, bro, y'all just let me know. All right. So okay, so this is what we have. So now that you put the achievements in the bucket, right? So
Yeah.
we got these achievements and they're just dropping, we're putting them in, we're collecting them. This is where they are. Okay,
Hmm.
so we've
Hmm.
got them in here. Now, how do we avoid this looking like a trash can? Because that's kind of what this kind of looks like. What would be the next step? Is as we sit down and you're reflecting on your achievements, what would we do next?
Okay, so
Let's say
you can do it. You can either go chronological,
okay.
or you can guess like I don't want to say based on the value, but it's kind of like based on the value ish. You know, so
Uh-huh.
like the bigger projects, it was just like it took a whole lot out of you, or you had to collaborate with some other people, or you were the lead
Okay.
designer, the lead brain, you
Okay.
know, that
I'm gonna put
type
money.
of
Money is definitely gonna be
money,
one of them.
money. Yeah, definitely money. Um,
It's supposed
so
to be a
yeah,
little gift. Okay, cool. So value based, monetary, chronological. You know it's a great it's a great idea.
mm,
This is a cool idea. So we've been talking about the anti-hero clinic for a little bit. What would be cool is if people understood, like from a chronological standpoint, that you can actually create stories. So in
yes,
your journal, maybe instead of just writing it as a bullet point, you actually write out the story. Okay, so I'm gonna give you an example. So today I talked about how to create scenes in a story because every story, and maybe I should probably share that, every story needs a set of scenes, right?
definitely.
And what the scenes are composed of are two things. They're composed of the setup and they're composed of a sequel. Here's the crazy thing. Well, it's not really that crazy. I just like saying that because it sounds more dramatic. Setting is about the want. What did the character want, right? And if you can talk about what did you want to do or what were you trying to accomplish, and this is like me, right? In this scenario, right? I was trying to complete this particular achievement. This is what I wanted to happen. Then you talk about the obstacles.
Hmm.
What prevented you from actually making that happen? Yo, Microsoft is
Your protagonist.
tripping. Right. Microsoft is tripping right now, bro. Like we are struggling right here to get this working. Okay, let's do this. So we got the scenes. Let's just keep it rolling. You got your setup, and you got your sequels, and then you got your want. What were you trying to achieve? What was the obstacle? And then you can even talk about the I think on this side too is like the dilemma. No, that's on the other side. You can talk about the the what would the word be? Like it's kind of like the failure. Like you were trying something and it didn't work out, you know. So here's what the sequel is. The sequel on the other side is the dilemma. How did you deal with the fact that you're trying to overcome this thing? Maybe it's a project management process, maybe it's something else that you're trying to work out, maybe it's a leadership, whatever it is, and you had specific challenges, and maybe that's what goes in between here, looking at the challenges. And after that, what were the choices? I'm butchering this, but this is really, what were the choices that you made in order to finally get to the end goal?
Okay.
So that could be like maybe one of the ways. I don't know, Brian. We're just kind of just shooting the breeze out, just trying to work this together. What are some of the ways that you can now take? Okay, my achievements. How do I write them out? I suggest, guys, don't just bullet point them. Save that for your resume. Like really do the work in writing out the story of what it is that you have accomplished.
Yeah, almost like a case study.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And you know what? Okay,
yeah,
so
like,
you talk
like doing that SWOT, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, dude. So okay, so we got the bucket. You know, we got the bucket. We drew the bucket out with all of these things, and then we said one of the ways that you can do this is chronologically. What would be the other thing, the other piece? Let's see. Let's go here again and see if they don't like us at all, boy. They don't like us at all. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're just gonna keep creating this. So we have our bucket. What would be the next? What would be the next thing? Achievement bucket. So what that means, guys, is you just start collecting all of the ideas, collecting all of your successes. That's where you create the list. Okay. So maybe that's where you list them down. But then after that, you want to figure out which are the ones that you want to focus on and kind of work out.
Yeah.
So we said that chronological. Brian also said you can do it from a monetary standpoint. You can also do it value-based. You can also do it like maybe it's a huge milestone in your life. So there are different ways
milestones.
Categorizing right your achievements. So just remember, all of your achievements need to be categorized in some form or fashion. Okay, so now that we're categorizing them, my suggestion was you can do it based on storytelling. Right. And I showed you how you can do, setting it up as scenes, like from a movie. What would be another way, or what would we do after creating this, setting these up? What would you say?
After we set it up?
Yeah, after we set it.
You gotta tell people about it. You gotta send it out. You gotta show it. You gotta show it. And not show off. you gotta show it. You just gotta show it.
Okay. Yeah.
People have to know.
Don't show off. What's the difference between showing your work and showing off?
Well, when I think about showing off is that you're trying to show everyone up. But what you want to actually do is it's your capabilities. You want to let everybody know, like, yo, I can do this.
Capabilities. Okay.
Yeah, you want to showcase it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to throw it in people's faces. You just want to showcase it, make sure people see and understand, like, yo, he can do this, she can do this, they can do it.
So what does that look like in real life? So let's say like right now, because you remember how you and I were talking and like, man, you know what? I really need to tap back into the not necessarily the clientele, but the achievements that I had, because that's also going to impact how much I'm charging and everything. Because sometimes we forget how much value we brought to people in the past, and so we, in a sense, start all over again when we really don't have to. How do we get the friend or the peer or the colleague to hear us out without us feeling as if we're just venting and yet at the same time trying to show off? what does that look like? What kind of environment do we need to be in? Like, I'm just saying this just for, just for sake, but do I invite somebody to lunch? Like, yeah, you want to have a cup of coffee? And they'd be like, yeah, what's good? I just want to tell you what I've done in my life. Like, that'd be kind of all right to tell you live out there, but what would that look like? How do we then effectively show or share without it feeling like
I'm going to be honest with you. I actually think that first way, it might have to be one of the ways. It might really have to be like, yo, let's go out to lunch. Let's have a meeting real quick. Yo, I need to talk to you about something.
Okay.
Yeah. I do think, because especially if you're talking about a colleague or a friend, I think there are times when we kind of lean away from it because we don't want to seem as though we're pushing. But let's think about sales. Almost any sales position that you get, they tell you to go after that warm list. The people that you already know, the people that are already in your contact list, friends, families, friends of families. They want you to go in that way to start talking about it. So I actually think it might have to be a meeting between people that you love, people that you like, people that you know, and you sit down like, this is what I've been working on. And I think it can double. I think it can double as accountability. Now that you put it out there, now that you talk to a couple of people, now that you let them know these are the things that I've done, these are the things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to you about it now because I want to see how we might be able to help each other. Or if there's someone that that might be able to help me.
Okay, that's good. So RK3 is saying, and I resonate with this as well, because what you're saying is take them to a space where we can actually have a conversation, and then he says find out what the other person is interested in first, and then frame your story around that. And I think that's key. So one of the best classes that I've taken, and I think it was just an audit for grad school. I was auditing classes in grad school. I was auditing classes, and this one, just being able to sit in the class and just still do the work, not getting any credit for it, but it just, it's one of those experiences. Sometimes those are the best experiences, right? Where you're not even getting a grade for it, but it's changing your life. And I think it was called The Philosophical Foundations of Psychology and Education, something like that. It's a really long name. And he said one of the best ways for you to share your philosophical worldview with somebody else, and it's so simple, is active listening. So you ask them, similar to what Rob Kennedy was just saying, you ask them about their story. It could be anything, whatever it is, right? But you ask them and you actively listen, so that what you then tend to do, and this is like if you're having like a philosophical, not debate, but there's a gap, and you want to be able to help them to think some things through from your perspective, but you don't want to impose your views, because that just doesn't work if the people don't think that you're caring about what they're saying. So you listen, actively listening, and then what you do is you reinterpret their story. When you reinterpret their story, that shows that you have actually heard what they're saying.
Heard what they said, and you understand what they're talking about.
Right. And then you have the ability now to share yours, which then fills in the gaps. Maybe not, but it's supposed to kind of fill in the gaps of where there's, some of the things that they're not kind of, maybe some of the challenges or obstacles or dips, like we talked about a couple of days ago, are for them to then ask the question, how did you get there? And it's interesting, because like you mentioned the imposter syndrome. It's interesting that even though you're trying to have the conversation with them, your achievements are part of your story that you feel is kind of in a deficit, does something for, like, it's filling in some void for them. And so there's this connection where they're like, tell me more. And now you can say, well, this is how I did it, or this is what I did. And I think that would kind of be the fourth element, would be after you share your story, or maybe the fifth element is, and maybe it's in between number 4 and number 5, get as detailed as possible for yourself personally. But then if you're doing it digitally, start to truncate and summarize. Because sometimes, and I can be guilty of this too, you can get too deep into your own story that you just negated the entire person's experience. And so Okay, cool. Any other ideas or thoughts about this? Because this is what it's all about, guys. For those of you that just might be chiming in right now, we're talking about this idea of creating a personal curriculum vitae, a personal CV for yourself. So for a lot of people, not just creatives, but for a lot of people, you have already achieved a lot, but you just tend to forget it because you don't write it down. You may write it down for a job. You might write it down for a project. You might write it down when you're supposed to pitch to a client or something like that, but we don't have it readily available. Phone, journal, something that you can just take a look at to say, wow, okay, I have done some stuff, And then when you can do that, it just fuels you. Actually, as a matter of fact, guys, if you have a chance, just look up how not to or let me see, like one of the things, like maybe I'm trying to look for a Google phrase, not how to write a CV, but like how do you track your achievements, or how do you track your successes? And guys, it's all pretty much the same stuff. You gotta document the stuff.
Yeah, you gotta document it.
Yeah. So so that was really it. Any other thoughts that you got, man? And I'll probably throw the thing back up on the screen so that we can look at the steps again of how it is that we can start documenting our achievements, framing them in a storytelling manner. I think that's the best way. Don't bullet point. Maybe start out with one bullet point and then actually share it. What else you got, Brian?
Yeah. Oh man, emails. Any emails of praise, any emails of thanks, saying you're the best designer in the world, the best videographer in the world. Man, your branding strategies were amazing. I love how you cut my lawn, whatever it is. Any emails that you have, if you put that in a folder. And actually, I got this from a gentleman on YouTube, Matt. I just found his name, and because I got to read his last name or I always say it wrong. Matt like for real, Matt Diavella.
Okay, Matt Diavella
or Matt Davella. Matt Davella. He had a video with his wife, and his wife was saying, save all these emails in a folder, and you can name it whatever you like, but name it something that when you see it, you recognize it. These are my success stories. These are my successes, and you open it up, and almost for the same reason, because number one, when you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to get this done? I am not as good as I think. And these are all things that we internalize. Right. You go to that email now, that folder with all the emails of people saying, oh my gosh, you're so great. Thank you so very much for your dedication to the project. Thank you for taking your time with me and my staff, me and my team, when you were in there helping us with our sales training, whatever it is. You have those things. And also you can put those emails on something, paraphrase, and now you have testimonials.
Right.
You can actually put in a presentation. Yeah, man. All these things are.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're on point with that. As a matter of fact, RK3, I know you have a process, and I know we're about to log off soon, but if you're still watching, if you can drop because I know that there's a platform or something that you use, and most speakers, if they're on it, and RK3 is one of them, he is on it, guys. This guy right here, like this guy right here, he knows, and he does it fresh. He's like right after the presentation, maybe within 24 hours, maybe 48, but not even that long. You will get something that reminds you, oh yeah, I remember that was a great, and then just kind of. He has a process, and I think that he probably even has a coaching platform that allows you to go through that. So maybe that's probably what you should put down, RK3. Maybe not the resource, the actual masterclass that you do have. So anyway, guys, this was really great. And once again, this is part of the process of how we're both doing it. This right here, this is in a sense a digital achievement thing that we're going to put in our bucket. Some of us have the ability to take moments like these and to say, wait a minute, other people need to hear this. And so Brian was like, yo, let's go. Let's live right now. And that's what we're doing. And so Sometimes it's just the ordinary things, guys. Take those things and move forward. Okay, move forward, document those things. After you document them, categorize what they are, contextualize them by writing stories for each of them. If that belabors you right now, don't feel overwhelmed. Just take one and you just try to figure out, number one, what did I want to do? What was the achievement? Number two, what were the obstacles? Number three, how did I fall, or what did I learn from it? What were the challenges with those obstacles? Number four, what was the dilemma? What was the choice that I had to make in order to actually make this thing work out? That's how you create or develop a simple story. Act one is the setup. Act two is the conflict. Act three is the resolution. Brian said it best. It's a case study. And then after you do that, you got to share it. You got to show it. You got to tell tell other people. All right, guys, I hope that
they don't know.
Yeah, it's simple, but listen, it can be so difficult. But guys, we've got the ability to do it. So I'm hoping that you take that and run with it, because I'm about to take it and run with it myself.
Yeah. If no one learned anything today, at least they learned what CV stands for, because I never knew. That was great. What is it called again? I'm writing it down this time.
Curriculum vitae. I think
curriculum.
And then vitae.
Yeah.
That's different. That's like your long resume. That's like a long version. Document everything, right? That's what I think we all need for ourselves. We need to be able to document these things, achievements, learning experiences, all of it, guys. And then you can pick and choose based on the conversations, based on the jobs, based on the entrepreneurial ventures. Pick and choose those things. All right, guys, we out. And go ahead and put those things to use.
Yes, sir.